Let's talk about some news. I recently had some experiences with Intel Arc. Had a little bit of a play with it a couple of days ago.
So Intel is
And
making video cards now.
now,
Do they work?
yes,
How?
cards themselves work rather well. It's mostly about the drivers and the software. That's a bit of a problem.
This is the point where I was waiting for you.
Yeah, well, Intel has been making some graphic cards for the past decades, I think in the millions actually, which is kind of the point as well, because the cards work for the most part okay. And some of the latest releases of the drivers introduced some significant performance upgrades as well. Latest version has really good improvement in terms of the DX9 performance and stuff like that. But at the same time, their driver suite and especially that annoying application that they call Arc Control is something that should be forbidden by law.
What I'm missing here, I also had some play with Arc, and what I'm missing here is Intel probably made billions of graphic cards, if you count all the CPUs. So how is it that they fail to understand that you actually need drivers that work and drivers that are capable of controlling the card in production if you want to ship something to the consumer? I am completely not pro Team Red or Team Blue. I just don't understand how Intel made such a mistake and released a hardware that is working without an actual working driver.
I think that's pretty straightforward. They were just in the rush to get it to the market.
Okay.
They finished the hardware, didn't finish the software. They were forced by deadlines, and they just made the decision to go with it, to go with the flow, as we usually say. And that was that. And to suffer a little bit at the beginning with the potential outcry from the customers, which is definitely happening, and to try to improve it as they do. But that also ties in nicely to the second point about the drivers. Team Red and Team Green, actually, if you want to call them that,
Okay.
they kind of got us used to that idea as well. They are also very much, let's say, metaphorically, to blame for that, because for years they've also released hardware that wasn't all that optimized in the software part, and they introduced significant upgrades via newer releases of the drivers. AMD is very well known for that. So I'd say that this is just a continuation of a story that kind of, when you look at some things on the market from the perspective of a customer, a lot of customers are buying mid-range products. It's been always like that. Lately, it's been a little bit more of the shift towards products that are more high-end, but that's a result of the way in which they operate, not the customers, the NVIDIAs, AMDs of the world, etc. But at the same time, they have gotten used us to the fact that the performance from the optimization perspective, when these products are released, are mediocre at best. And then they slowly but surely introduce new versions of the drivers, everything gets better, etc. And it's become the new normal. It's not.
Okay, but I have two points there. First point is I was expecting much better from Intel. Because Intel is big enough to be able to afford drivers that actually work.
Agreed.
And the other thing is that I honestly do not expect from somebody who has a release cycle that is close to probably 9 months or so, under a year, that they're going to be making progress in creating new drivers and new features on older hardware instead of pushing new hardware. So if they release the hardware version of a chip and then failed to get the drivers right, they are right now counting down to the next release of the next version of the next generation of the hardware. And I think that if the drivers are lagging behind on release date, they are going to lag even more as soon as the next generation comes in, and then the next generation comes in, and so on. This is the one thing. And the other thing is that I honestly hate every piece of hardware that is released as a hardware works, will fix it in post, and then this fix never comes. So if Intel is unable to do it, what about smaller or to be more precise, more generic manufacturers. So, for example, I don't know, a network card or so. Network cards are crap because they are supposed to be finished later, but nobody comes to the point when it actually finishes the drivers.
There's actually a good counterpoint to what you said. I agree with that, but there's also one thing that we could add to the pile of,
Okay.
to discuss. They don't have a reference of a previous generation card, which is good, actually, in a couple of different ways. Primarily, if we are discussing drivers, that means that they don't have to release new drivers for some kind of older product, which in theory and generally speaking in practice should mean that they have more time to develop drivers for the current products now, until the release of the next GPU generation, if you understand what I wanted to say.
Yes, but the reference is not the previous generation. Reference is the games on the market. Because for all normal purposes, integrated the graphics is okay. So Arc is released exclusively for the games, and you are comparing benchmarks on for the current generation of the cards to the current games on the market right now. So previous experience doesn't count. You just need to create a card that is going to be as quick as possible in the games that are available right now. So Intel is failing to do this. They are failing to even achieve stability on the hardware, and this is a big problem because once you fail to achieve stability and once you fail to release the hardware that actually works when you release it, people tend to say, okay, this is Intel, they didn't do what we expected from them, let's see what the other two guys are doing. And the other two guys are actually releasing cards that work. Okay, they may be a little bit toasty. They may burn themselves up. They may cost a small fortune. But if you take all those things into consideration, they are actually releasing cards that work. Intel is not so much cheaper that people would buy Intel, exclusively on the price. And it's not stable enough to buy it based on stability. So what is the reason why they're doing this?
Actually, there are a couple of other reasons why they introduced these cards, and it's not only gaming. But my previous standpoint wasn't from the perspective of the gamer, it was from their standpoint.
Okay.
Which I hate analyzing. Yet again, one other thing that they kind of imprinted into our firmware when we start thinking about buying a product, a lot of people tend to take sides. In IT, there shouldn't be taking sides, and we shouldn't offer them any understanding for the fact that the drivers are making the product bad. Okay?
This is my point.
Yes,
Because I want the cheapest card that is able to achieve whatever FPS I'm looking for in a given game.
But
I don't
my
care.
point, I understand completely. My point was that they have even less to complain about, because of the fact that they don't have to do compatibility for some previous generation of cards or something. They should focus on this, and they should have focused on that years ago or months ago, and they should have made it work. They have even less of an excuse to do so, not more. So that makes me even more mad about it.
So let's.
But there's a second reason why they release these cards, and that one is actually making me even more furious than the gaming part, which is that their cards support the new codec that should be in use by Twitch and YouTube, etc.,
Yes.
VC1, whatnot. Nobody uses it yet. So basically, you're buying a product that is not optimized now for the feature that might come later, which is completely irrational. Okay? I understand that VC1 is going to have significant influence on how much bandwidth you spend for streamers and people doing YouTube, Twitch, whatnot, in terms of how much bandwidth they're going to put into that versus quality. But it's not available now. It is not going to be available probably for the next X amount of months, whatever. So it is a feature that is offered which is completely pointless at this point of time. And they are kind of like saying us, yeah, buy it for that as well.
Yes, but we are now just reiterating the thing that you probably remember, since you are old enough to remember the MMX instructions and the instructions, multimedia instruction set for the CPUs that Intel came to the market with. And this was a market driver or market point. And there was absolutely zero production support for any of the instructions that they put on the market.
Yeah, they were absolutely unnecessary at that point in time.
Yes, and then they actually did a deal with Microsoft to implement this in Windows. I don't see this kind of point being done now because Microsoft and Intel are not so closely knit together as they used to be. So Microsoft is not going to just work it out and try to push the new Intel features into Windows because they had their own agreements with NVIDIA and ATI. So this is just my point is
AMD, no ATI anymore.
Okay. The guys that produce the cards that actually work and not burn themselves up. But okay, so they don't have the incentive. So Microsoft doesn't have the incentive to go and try to sort out the Intel problems.
Yeah, but they shouldn't, and they don't have the need to because the codec is a driver/browser thing, not the OS thing.
Okay.
At the end of the day.
Yes,
but the codecs already exist. It's just that you cannot use them for anything right now, at least.
Yes, but right now Microsoft is, among other things, trying to push its own edge. So it is going to try to push whatever is cool and new and Twitch and multimedia and stream and whatever are the buzzwords of the day today. But let's continue on. Yeah. Now that we have come to agreement that ARC hardware good, software bad, hardware needs some finishing, software needs completely redone. Let's go on.
I agree. Okay, my next beef, actually kind of sarcastic/ironic turn of events, actually. Both you and I mean, we've known each other for a gazillion years, and both of us are using all of the above. Firefox, Chrome,
Brave,
whatever.
Opera.
Yeah, Opera, whatever. Doesn't really matter.
Mosaic.
Yeah, Mosaic.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, in the 90s at least. We are both old enough to remember that. But Google Chrome has been a thorn in my eye for so long now, for a couple of years. I've been actively using it every single day. And the second I start the browser and let's say open 5 tabs, it starts eating away everything in terms of memory, and partially CPU as well that I have on my computer. And the computers that you and I use are not exactly, beginner class computers. They are workstations with Xeon processors with 64 odd gigabytes of memory and etc. And when you start Task Manager, coincidentally the application that both of us absolutely adore, of course, being sarcastic yet again. And when you see the amount of processes that it starts, the amount of memory that it eats away for whatever, it's crazy. And that brings me to the point. The point is that Google Chrome is going to get memory and power saving modes. Now, I would like to laugh my ass off at that, but I'm going to stop myself there and just say that as long as they finally fix one of the most common things that happens to all of us in terms of that, which is if you're using a laptop, if you're not hooked up to power, they're just eating away the battery as fast as possible. It's insane. Sometimes the Chrome wastes more battery than me watching a movie in VLC, which is insane, completely crazy. But if they've managed to fix that, finally, good riddance, old Chrome, welcome new one. Hopefully you're going to be more efficient. That being said, tying back to the previous topic, why the hell haven't you done that in the past 5 or so years?
I think that I'm not going to defend Google here because Chrome is known for being... Basically, why we are talking today only about half solutions and half products that shouldn't be on the market yet. But okay, Chrome has been known to gut the memory and try to waste as much memory as possible. Okay, I can see why. I see that one of the driving ideas was to get as many extensions, as many developers online to develop things for Chrome as possible. And what they actually did is that they created a store for the plugins that were, let's say, less than optimized, that kept crashing. They had a huge problem with crashing, with memory loss, with memory allocation, and so on.
Buffer overflows.
Yes, then try to fix it in the Chrome itself. this doesn't work because this is a patchwork that tries to fix other people's patchwork, so it doesn't work. But having said all that, I think that Chrome is trying to shift its own Chromium OS into Windows, and it's right now creating a virtual machine inside the virtual machine inside the virtual machine. So it's trying to create a operating system inside the operating system to try to take over everything. It is switching modes because
So system daemon Linux type of.
yes, but because application shouldn't be having a power save mode. This is a function
Agreed.
of the operating system. Memory saving is something that should be a function of the operating system because it implicitly means that Chrome is going to take away all your memory and then try to save it. Because the only way that Chrome should be saving memory is just
By
to
not using it
but not using it or
inefficiently.
Inefficiently, yes.
Yes, I agree.
So either Chrome is going to talk to Windows directly and then do the memory allocation or reallocation, or it's just going to give up and try to give all the memory back to the operating systems. I don't see the reason for allocating all the memory and then saying, okay, now I'm not going to be wasteful. Because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for the browser to take over operating system functions, because what's next? It is going to spawn processes.
Yeah.
It is going to have its own separate processes and separate process groups inside the processor. Okay. When comes the time when I need virtualization turned on the processor if I need to run Chrome?
That's easy, always.
And what's next? Kubernetes and Chrome.
It would be awesome.
I'm strongly now thinking that you have gone completely insane.
And maybe I'm just being sarcastic, of course.
Yes, but this is overly sarcastic. But we will come to a point where microservices and Chrome are going to cross paths, and this is going to be an insane moment in history.
I agree. That's going to be a significant moment in IT history. Not for the good.
I think that you know that you can actually run in Emacs. You can actually run a text editor.
Yeah, it was a well-known text editor that we used to use 30 years ago.
No. But inside Emacs, you have a text editor inside the Emacs that you can run as a text editor. When we will see a point when the Chrome is going to have its own web browser inside the Chrome that is going to be independent web browser as a plugin.
I think I have a better one. What they should do is actually not create an editor inside of Chrome. They should create a front page inside the Chrome. That would be awesome.
I think that on Google Graveyard, there are a couple of front pages that they tried to create.
I know.
Yes.
Exactly why I said it.
And I think that rightfully, all those things are on the Graveyard.
Correct.
Together with the Microsoft MSN channels, active channels on the desktop that Microsoft tried to create a long time ago, if you remember.
Macromedia or Adobe Flash, Shockwave.
Silverlight.
Yes.
So all those things that they're trying to take over the world and trying to make customers use a custom solution that is going to be completely proprietary, they should just be on the Graveyard as soon as possible. If possible, even before they are released, so that nobody tries to release such kind of crappy software, basically.
But what fun would that be?
I'm thinking about not needing 64 gigabytes of RAM in order to open a web page.
And you think that you are basically entitled to not waste time on stuff like that, correct?
I want my tools not trying to take over the world while I use them.
But yeah, time waste.
Yes.
Okay, I have a bone to pick with you there.
Okay? Try.
Yeah, this is going to be fun for me, at least a little bit. I'm going to troll you because you deserve it. So, for the past couple of years, we had a fun relationship online in terms of which software products and operating systems we use for our jobs.
The newest one.
Yes. And me being a little bit more of a realist with the IT journalistic/editorial background, and you still being a small child that likes to beta test things, did something last year which made me both furious and laugh my off at you at many of occasions. So we had a situation in which we arranged that we are going to install Windows 10 on our desktops. We are going to use specific hardware for our online lectures. We are going to do sound in a specific way, Windows 10, applications, drivers, everything worked perfectly. And then one day, Yasmin, Mr. calls me and says, yeah, I deployed Windows 11 at.
Yes, because it was boring. Once the operating system becomes available, my users or people who are asking me for help are going to use it. I need to know how crappy it is in order to see what the problems are going to be.
Exactly correct, but not on the production computer.
So dog fooding is okay.
No.
Incidentally, this is my production computer.
It's not an incident. It's on purpose.
Yes, because I am unable to use Windows 11 on basically none of my laptops because
They're not compatible?
They're not compatible because they actually work.
And they don't have TPM2 or something like that.
Yes,
yeah. Okay.
And this is fortunate.
Agreed.
So I'm running it on my desktop, and I just wanted to see what the user experience is. So I'm...
Please share with us what the user experience was, especially on our online chats.
I wasn't able to talk to people,
or hear people,
I wasn't able to hear people,
and show camera picture to people,
sometimes.
and mixture of all of the above random.
But I think that we are coming to the first point, because Windows was released before they actually sorted out all the problems with the drivers.
Exactly correct.
And they have gone a long way with fixing it. So right now, most of the time I can hear people. Most of the time I can talk to people because they hear me. Most of the time I can voluntarily switch devices when I need them.
Hooray for you.
I can mostly play all the multimedia that I have on my computer.
Unless you can't, in which case, waste time yet again.
Yes. But thankfully, I decided to have a secondary computer that is Windows 10 compatible, and it actually works. So I'm able to switch to a clean desktop and work. And this is the main reason why I have a laptop.
Okay. I would just, for some reason, I'm seeing Dirty Harry Callahan, and just the word swell comes to mind. You know?
I'm just seeing Del Boy and just who dares wins and so on and so on.
So in the last episode of the movie, you're going to get your millions.
Yes, I'm going to be a millionaire.
Okay. And you're going to fall backwards unconscious twice, and then you're going to rock the car because you're very happy.
And right now we made a reference to a British sitcom that probably none of the listeners in the United States know anything about. But anyways.
We do.
Yes, okay. So now, after 31 minutes of recording, let's try to go to the main point of the thing that we are here for.
But why we are having so much fun, dissing on stuff that doesn't work properly?
Yes, but this is the biggest point.
We can go on with that forever.
Right now, the state of the market is this: everybody releases crap things because they have a tight schedule to release. Then they try to use an even tighter schedule to fix it in the software part.
Then they fail.
Then they fail and give up. Then they re-release the before said hardware because there is a revision 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11. And then they try to fix the 11th edition of the hardware in the software, decide to give up completely, and release a new version of everything. And none of the things actually work. The release cycle is so quick, and the job that people do is so superficial that I have yet to see hardware that is actually working in the first iteration. I have yet to see software that is working in the first iteration. And I explicitly hate having to fix things as soon as I install them. It's almost like Teslas. In the time before we had bikes. When you bought a bike, you had to go to the first service as soon as you bought the bike because it needed to be put together, and then they needed to finish things up, oil the chain, and so on and so on. It is insane that right now, when you buy a new car, specifically Tesla, you need to go to the service station as soon as possible because
The door gaps aren't correct.
the things are not working completely, so they are going to finish it later. The car should be finished as soon as it goes out of the factory. If it isn't finished, it shouldn't be out.
Agreed.
The same thing goes with the hardware. The same thing goes with the software.
Agreed.
We have a big problem right now.
Agreed. Which is the reason why I asked you why you installed Windows 11.
Because it's fun.
Thank you for that. That's what
Because
I wanted to hear. Human reason.
If everything is broken, I'm not going to try to fix things. I'm just going to see how broken they are.
So basically what you wanted to say is Windows 11 for you is Linux desktop for me.
Yes, and this is going to be the year of the Linux desktop.
Which one? Next one?
No, this one, the 15 days of it.
Sure. Let's see how that works out.
Let's call it. This is the year of the Linux desktop.
Excellent.
You heard it here
first.
Yes.
Okay.
So let's now talk about the elephant in the room. The elephant is called Chat AI, and it is, from my perspective, it is the most interesting thing that has happened in the last probably 20 odd years, because we have a technology that wasn't released by any of the big companies, and that has a tendency to
be a big disruptor.
Disruptor, and at the same time is completely basically open source. So we have something that is not controlled by anybody, that is disruptive technology that is not patented by anybody, and we have seen only the start of it right now. So we are talking about Chat AI. If if you don't know what it is, basically everybody has covered it. It's a sort of kind of artificial intelligence chatbot designed for chatting.
Almost as if you're having a human interaction type of chatting.
Yes, it can switch languages. It can interact on normal language prompts, so you can actually have I won't say meaningful, but a conversation with it. You can pose questions. You can get sort of kind of answers, and you are able to talk to the model or the ChatGPT bot and get meaningful answers to your questions. Having said that, I'm all for the idea of it. Implementation right now is basically the same as it is with the Intel's graphic card, but it is getting significantly better by each day because it is learning based on the prompts that people give it. So we are talking about disruptive technology. We are talking about something that wasn't released by Microsoft, wasn't released by Google, wasn't released by anybody else. It isn't even released by a significant player on the virtualization market. So we are not talking about somebody that has resources behind it. And this is getting interested. The only problem that I have with this technology is that for a casual, normal person that has no knowledge on a lot of things, results of the chat with this AI may be deceptive. May be deceptive because we are talking about approximation of a normal person.
We're also talking about an AI that has a big yet still limited data set.
Yes, and the biggest problem is that the AI, the way it is done right now, has one thing that is completely different, but when you compare it to everything other on the market. This AI won't be saying that it doesn't know something. It is going to try to make up facts or try to avoid things that it doesn't know. So it is not going to just give up on you. It is going to try to show you or try to give you the answer that it things that you should be getting.
Basically, be all end all. I know
Yes,
everything
and
all.
then
Yet I
making
don't.
making things up as it goes along. And this is a big problem because people are expecting computers to say, okay, this is the answer, or I don't know.
Yeah, either true or false, kind of
Yes, so
binary.
we are expecting that the answer is either I know the answer or I don't know the answer. They're not expecting a computer to say, this is the answer, or this should be the answer, and I think this is the answer.
Okay.
Because people are expecting some kind of a definitive, finished, let's say, I wouldn't say a task, but I would say just a definitive answer to a specific question, and they expect that the computer is going to tell them if he doesn't know what to do. And Chat AI doesn't do this. It is going to either give up completely because of the limitations of the model, or it is just going to try to make things up.
Let's have some examples.
Okay.
You want to start or should I?
I asked it what is an IT podcast.
Okay.
And this is, on the first glance, this is completely okay. Type audio program, focuses on topic related to information technology, typically features discussions, and so on and so on and so on. But once you try to go into
Nitty-gritty details.
so let's say what are the typical topics covered.
Good that you made a typo there because it is actually able to understand what you asked it.
Oh,
if
great.
it works.
So
Try a new thread. Try new thread. Top left corner.
okay.
Now ask it again. What are the typical...
I'm making the typo again.
Yes.
On purpose.
Do it again.
Typical topics of an IT podcast.
Let's see if it works now.
No, because we are doing it in production. You never do a live demo. People never do a live demo if you don't have to. Let's try on your computer. Oh, so this is going to be a fun discussion about something that doesn't work.
Oh, that's so awesome. Even better.
Even better.
I'm going to try to restart my browser. Maybe I'll get a little bit more lucky. Not sure, but worth a try.
Okay.
Everybody is using it. Everybody, all day long. Actually, we had a funny discussion here at our university where Yasmin and I work. A couple of days ago, when the news broke and went viral over the internet. And we had an internal discussion about what to do with it, because we don't want our students to use it on exams, of course. Reason one is because it might give them the correct answers, therefore that's like cheating on the exams. Reason two, if it doesn't give them the correct answers and they think that the answers are correct, they are going to come at us and ask us, but why didn't we get points for the aforementioned answers when it's true? Chat AI says it so.
I have, to be completely honest, I have no problems with using this in any kind of education.
Me neither.
But
not for the exams, though.
But the problem is that I think that this superficiality of the answers that are going to get done by the AI is going to be a big problem, because I think this tool is amazing.
Agreed.
This tool is amazing because it gives you the ability to go, let's say, 60% of the way towards the things that you want to understand. If you want to get to a meaningful list of, I don't know, applications that are going to be used in, I don't know, identity management, it is going to give you an amazing list of references. It is going to give you an amazing list of resources to start from. You won't be going all the way in because you will need to refer to other sources. You're going to try to find things on the internet. But it is much, much, much better in trying in finding contextual data on the internet for a particular topic. But
I would argue that it's better to learn the topic. But
yes, but this is the point. If you give up as soon as you get the list of topics, and then try to say, okay, this is what I need to know. This is it. you are going to fail, and you're going to fail miserably. You need to use the ChatGPT as you would use, I don't know, Wikipedia or Google or whatever, just to search for the additional pointers to the topics that you need to learn on, and then try to use those references and those materials to get the information that you need. Using ChatGPT as a final tool,
as a source of truth.
A source of truth, or as a final tool to create something, is completely wrong. Because it isn't meant to do this. And the problem is that people tend to say, okay, but we are able to do this. And we are right now at the start of a long learning curve on how to use things like this, because this is going to be a big problem for the educators. This is already an enormous problem because I don't know if you followed. Right now, people are copy-pasting the wrong answers and trying to get them as their own on the forums, on the Stack Overflow, on different. Stack Overflow has banned the answers from the AI.
So people are messing with people.
Yes,
How weird.
Yes, because people saw a way of quickly making online karma and quickly making the answers online to things that they think they know about, because they're trying to basically get themselves recognized as experts in stuff they don't understand. So this is a big problem. And we are going to need to find a way to sort these things out, because when MP3 came out, we had a pretty substantial library of already released music that was in a given quality. When MP3 came out, everything got converted to MP3. MP3 is a lossy compression. We lost fidelity in the music. When the JPEG and GIF came, or the GIF came out, a lot of documents got converted from the TIFF that was lossless to lossy compression. We lost a lot of fidelity there. Then, right now, we have a ChatGPT that is trying to make, that is going to make such a loss of fidelity in spoken word, in materials on the internet, and we are going to have a lot of problems with the other AIs that are generating images.
Okay.
Because we are right now starting to get millions, if not billions, of generated images that are competing with actual images that are true. And in probably a year or two, you won't be able to tell those images apart.
Okay.
So ChatGPT is okay, but we are going to need, as soon as possible, the way of telling apart what is an actual result of a human interaction or a human reasoning, or what is the result of artificial intelligence model, or something like this. There will be a point when those two won't be able to tell each other apart. But right now, we are not at that point.
Okay.
Right now, we have a problem.
I have another question related to that. Actually, you bring up a very interesting topic. Seeing the state of ChatGPT as it is right now, let's use it as a reference. Going forward, whatever amount of years, maybe it's 1 year, maybe it's 5 years, maybe 10. This might be the next thing that happens on the job market. These types of skills, basically to distinguish what the reality of information versus what the, let's say, ChatGPT's version, whatever, of the world is giving you as a reality, as an answer to a question, might become something that's a valuable skill. Because AI is already something that's creating quite a lot of stir on in the IT industry, not from the perspective of technology. It's been around. It's been around for years now. It's not necessarily something new, but the value of it and development of it reached the state at which, and this is something that you probably also are going to argue, or already did, underlying to what you were saying, is that AI needs a little bit more I hate to use the word, but I'll still say it out loud, regulation.
I am going to use the word supervision.
Supervision. Okay, that's good.
Because regulation is not going to work.
I know, no. I agree. No discussion there. But my point is this. Is this tool and its many things that are going to come after that, generation 2, 3, 5, 7, 15, whatever, by the time you and I go on, God knows what AIs are going to be doing. And that's good. But the question is this. Is this something that's a job skill? Using tools like this, is this going to become a job skill?
Yes. Yes, but the problem is going to be that what are we going to do with the people that are going to be basically out of the job because the AI is able to do the job correctly? Because for some things, AI is amazing. For generating simple scripts, for generating data sheets, for converting data into data, if you are able to give it a reasonably understandable prompt, you are going to get a result that is okay for, I won't say even a fraction. It's going to be a fraction of the amount of money that you need to pay people for. So to do statistical analysis, to do different kinds of data mining, data digging through different data sets, AI is amazing and is going to be even more amazing. And creating new jobs that are going to tell apart was something done by an AI or a person is not going to be the biggest problem that we are going to create.
Agreed.
But my point is this. Every tool is okay. We have seen great things done on the internet and great things done in the technology space for the last 25 years or so. And I'm going to just give you one example. Google.
Okay.
How much internet is hidden from our view? Because right now, you are completely trusting that Google is indexing everything. If the Google...
You mean like a reasonable standard
yes.
person using the internet? Yeah, I agree.
So basically, when you are searching for something, your first thought is not going to be, am I seeing only just a small subset of the things that are on the internet? You're just going to say to yourself, okay, Google has indexed everything. Now I'm going to search for a thing that I need among all the things that are on the internet. And this cannot be further from the truth.
This is basically you're doing a critical analysis.
Yes. And this is also technology that is working right now, or for the last 20 years. It's working in our favor
up to a point.
For the benefit of the humankind. But at the same time, is extremely sensitive because if you are able to mess with Google search results, and companies have tried and succeeded,
yes.
Countries have tried and succeeded, different political fractions have tried and succeeded, you are able to mess with the people's perception of the world. AI is also such a technology. But the difference is that Google, being good or bad, I think it's mostly good, chaotic evil, but mostly good. Google has its own governance system because it's a company. Chat AI doesn't have a governance system. It's an open system that can be forked at any time, at any place, and there are going to be malicious forks of the AI that are going to be used for different, I won't say nefarious, I'm going to say downright evil reasons. And this is the main point of the open source. You can do whatever you want with it, but sometimes whatever you want with it is not going to be compatible with normal ethics. So we are going to have
morality issues with AI.
So basically what we have created is a tool that can be used as a weapon, and this weapon can be used
to the detriment of everybody.
To the detriment of everybody, and completely free.
Okay.
And there is no way of stopping it that we know right now.
I agree about the jobs, agree on the big discussion that is already happening partially about the morality of it, how to approach that. I'm not exactly sure that, we live in a capitalistic society. Technology is coming, taking over all jobs, installing kind of new jobs is nothing new. I'm not a, let's say, evil capitalist in the sense. But that being said, also, for the most part, this tool already knows a lot of information about the stuff that it took you and me many years to learn. And it does provide a lot of these information very correctly, actually. I had a chance to test it, and I was very surprised. What happens actually is where there's it's just like discussion about digital versus analog technology in music, in the TV, in whatever. Wherever there is something that's distinctively one or the other, it's rather good. Wherever there are nuances, whenever there is some finely grained something embedded into the question that you are asking, it's really not as good.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't know if you already noticed that, but it is so. And when it starts working, I'm going to show you a series of examples of that.
Yes, but the problem is, my problem that I have with the AI as such is that first thing is that it is good when things are black and white.
Mm-hmm.
And it is right now unable to do basic reasoning, but it is my biggest concern is that is making things up, because whenever things are not black and white, for example in ethics, in different programming skills, when things can be done in a couple of ways, it is going to try to cheat its way through the ways of trying to work on things. And we are going to come to a point, okay, we are at the point when people are going to ask it two things. First, where did you steal this from?
Mm-hmm.
Because for programming, a lot of stuff is patented or trademarked or whatever. This is first thing. And right now, both you and me, we try to use it to create configurations for the different routers and different things. I can imagine a big router company, I won't name it, is going to be filing a lawsuit against the OpenAI because it is generating automatical
Configuration
for different
therefore
things.
killing their education programs, for example.
Yes.
Ah, okay.
Yes,
Get it.
because you are basically killing the education, or you are supplementing or taking away jobs for the people that need the introduction to a topic. So you are eliminating jobs on the most foundational level, and you are just creating. Chat AI is great if you have a lot of knowledge, because
Correct.
you can expand on it. But if you try to do menial jobs, so for example, when you go to, let's use the networking world. When you go into networking world, you try to create, usually this is an associate or whatever it's called, the lowest level of the certification that basically enables you to understand how a router works, how to configure it on the most basic things, how to do the trunks, how to do the ports, and so on. This is going to be completely eliminated by OpenAI, because this is a simple configuration, and OpenAI is going to completely eliminate it. And right now, you are creating an environment where people need to go over something that is already done by computers. So they need to learn things that are done by computers much cheaper and much easier,
Faster.
to go on the next level, to get on the next step, then to learn more, and then to learn more, in order to be better than the computer. So right now, there is a lot of jobs for people to actually train on, because you need an actual hands-on experience when you're trying to configure the networking. And this is going to be taken away by an AI, because you will say to an AI, okay, this is my topology, I need this configuration, then it's going to create the configuration for you. Somebody with a lot of knowledge is going to be able to tweak things a little bit and then create the configuration that is going to work. But you won't be needing so many people to actually create the initial configuration. And you're going to lose on educating people how to create the configuration because everybody needs to learn step by step. And this is a big problem.
I would actually argue that if you're on the critical side of thinking about this, I would argue that something else is going to happen. And I cannot overstate how important this is. Let's continue with the networking analogy. It's a good one because it requires prior knowledge. Let's say that you were talking about basic level networking jobs, basically people who can, fire up a switch, create a couple of VLANs, trunk, create routing, connect a couple of computers, you're done. That's most of the networking work that's done in smaller to even sometimes to medium enterprises, and that's good. What happens if a person comes and wants to do that job that's not, let's say, doesn't have the sufficient knowledge level to do the job, goes to the OpenAI, takes the configuration from it because he heard or she heard about that tool, takes the config is wrong, crashes everything. Because that's a actually, potentially, completely imaginable scenario.
Okay, but this happens. This happens right now because for the most common tasks on the internet, for the networking, you can basically find cookbooks. They are sometimes even called cookbooks for a particular vendor. Mm-hmm. So we know a vendor that has specifically has cookbooks for different things that it does. And if you use those cookbooks incorrectly, this is going to be a big problem for you.
Yeah, but this is not the same thing. This is basically people acting as if they know something, not something that people are shying on doing. They do it a lot of people, but basically being extremely, let's say, irresponsible.
Okay, but I have a even bigger problem because I'm imagining an AI that is actually able to do the complete configuration by itself. Mm-hmm. So you have a big-ish company that has 200 routers that need to configure, 200 locations, and so on and so on. The most common on the basic configuration right now requires probably 10 people in the networking department that is going to take care of all of those routers. You can supplement all those people with one person using ChatAI. In an ideal world, it is going to create all the configurations correctly. Then when you need tweaking, you have only one person. And what is going to happen is that people who are in charge of budgeting, they're going to say, okay, why do I need 10 people when I can have just one person?
Oh, you mean the Excel managers?
Yes, the Excel managers. They're going to tell it, okay, I'm going to hire one person. He's going to be online and on call 24/7. He's going to burn himself out. And at the same time, people who would normally be training for this job are not going to get the opportunity to see how this job is done because they won't be needed on the basic level. So basically, you're going to be needing to learn enormous amount of stuff before you're even beginning to get a chance to do your job. And this is a big problem.
Okay, I have another question. Let's continue on the topic because it's very interesting. Let's say that AI replaces a lot of those basic level jobs.
Okay, menial.
Well, okay. Let's say, again, going from the networking world, basic network configuration done by AI. Everything cool. Isn't that perhaps a sign that people who are looking into doing that to get themselves educated even better so that they can go to the next level to do more complex things and especially stuff related to design, perhaps? Or is it just me being an old fart thinking in an ideal world?
I think that your world is ideal, but your world is forgetting about needing to have a space where you can make errors. Because if you have an experienced person, you can give it tasks that are complicated. If you have an unexperienced person and then you push it to do the tasks that are complicated, he's going to make errors anyway. But if he's on one level of assignment or on one level of the
knowledge,
on one level of the complexity of the network. So let's say, for example, We skip over going over the network thing. We created all the basic level networking. We created all the trunks. We created everything that we need that's needed on the network. And right now we are working on the interconnection between different BGPs or different internet providers and so on. A small change that is done by an inexperienced person can bring down the whole. Facebook was brought down with one
last year.
change.
Yeah.
And imagine that all the people that are able to change things have only the experience
Of that level.
Yes, because they didn't have the opportunity to make mistakes before. So they got completely isolated from the real environment. They could do it in the lab, they could do it by hand in the lab and so on, but they don't have the actual experience needed to make mistakes on the small scale. So they're going to make mistakes on the larger scale.
Okay, I have a sub-question. Good topic. Well, I'm going to use you as an example to do something that I shouldn't do. Basically, I'm going to profile you in a sense to kind of try to explain to you that there is another way. And you can freely shoot me down. Okay?
Okay.
What does a metaphorical, typical person now, without OpenAI,
Okay.
what does a typical metaphorical person that handles BGP configuration look like? And how old is he or she?
I have absolutely no idea.
Because the reality of that is most of that type of configuration isn't done by young people. It's done by people who are very mature, even closer to not only like mature age, like we kind of are on piece of paper, at least two of us. It's actually even older than us, closer to, let's say, 50s and 60s. A lot of them. Reason for that, I'm not profiling you for being prolific reasons. I'm profiling you to kind of tell you that people who look like you are usually the people who are configuring BGP at internet providers' locations. And I'm using that as like a humoristic picture, not to do something evil. Here's my point. There isn't all that much chance that a person coming from IT college or perhaps, let's say, undergrad program or something, that person's first task to do is going to be BGP. There is no chance for that to happen. Unless that person works in some kind of an enterprise company as a startup job, and somebody tells him to do that, in which case it's that person's problem that was created, because it's just like, I'm not a surgeon. I don't take scalpels or medical devices into my hand, and I don't slice people's organs, because I'm not trained to do that. And if somebody told me to do that, I wouldn't. Which again brings us back to the topic of responsibility.
Okay, but let me switch things over. Let's imagine you are an Excel manager.
Okay. Thank you for that picture. I'm going to talk to you about that in some other time.
Yes. Okay, so imagine you are, I know it's hard to imagine because you are not that kind of person, but let's say you're an Excel manager. You have right now
option A and option B.
No, organization that spans 200 locations. You have a task of trying to organize IT.
Mm-hmm.
You can hire one person or two people, and then use the chat AI or whatever AI there is to create configurations, and have a running configuration that is going to be okay.
Okay.
Or you can train 10 people to be able to go through the configuration themselves and have much more capable team, but in a vastly bigger expense.
Okay.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to pick option C if I'm an Excel manager. I'm going to find the middle between those two. I'm going to find 5 people who are even better than those 10 aforementioned people at doing that job. I'm going to pay them more, and I'm going to give them employment and try to make them happy there.
Okay, but what do you do with the people who don't have experience and they came out of the college?
You don't give them that level jobs. You start them with something simple.
And this is a problem. Because if simple is solved by the AI,
yeah,
and if you have it isn't impossible that you're going to get your, let's call it, I don't know, net fence, whatever device. Your device has, right now, it can create certificates, it can create routes, and so on. You say to it, okay, I need to create a normal VPN, it does it. You say to it, okay, I need to create a normal level firewall, it does it. And suddenly, you think that if you are a good Excel manager,
Which I'm not.
you are going to even think that you are able to configure the network.
Yes, I agree.
And this is going to be a big problem.
Agreed.
Because we need playgrounds for people to mess in.
Agreed.
And somebody needs to pay for it.
Agreed.
So I'm thinking about people who are going to finish college, and then they're going to have to work their ass off, being not paid enough, but not paid for the job that they're going to do, in order to get to the point where they're actually employable. And this is a problem. This is a problem for me.
Agreed. But I think that that's a point of a larger problem. And I'm sure, absolutely 100% sure that you are aware of this problem, because we had millions of discussions about this. This is about the need for the world to change. Basically, if you're constantly investing in creating these sorts of disruptive technologies, and this is just one example, there are many more. This is not the only one. What you want to do is, again, I hate to use the word regulate. I would still go with your word.
Okay.
Okay. You have
supervise.
to supervise an environment in which people are not just going to be replaced by the AI, as you are alluding to, which is okay as a thought, but by trying to figure out a way how to embed new technology in our lives to help us out, because that's the reason why technology exists in the first place, and we sometimes forget that.
Okay.
So both you and I have engineering backgrounds. The reason why engineering is so important, the reason why you mentioned patents, etc., are so important, the reason why human society developed over the past God knows how many thousands of years, is the fact that we wanted to invent stuff to make our lives easier.
Yes.
That's the primary key reason why we developed as much as we did up till this point, mostly because I would also argue that in the past couple of decades we've strayed a little bit from that path, but that's a different discussion.
There is always this point that you always hire the laziest DevOps guy that you can buy, because he's going to automate himself out of his job in order not to do anything. So this is the idea. We have done everything that we have done up to this point in order not to do anything. We want to be able...
You can say it out loud. We are on the road to becoming lazy. That's what it is.
Yes.
That's what it is. It's a human trait in a sense.
Yes, and I was asking AI what is going to happen with people that will lose jobs because of AI, and it says that it will be important for individuals and societies to adapt and learn new skills in order to take advantage.
Basically, it's saying what I was saying.
Yes, but the problem is that this is why I hate AIs, because this is a generic answer. This answer means this. You are going
it's
to
somebody else's problem.
No. You are going to need to change.
Yeah.
But this is a tautology, because you are saying you need to change because you need to change because you need to change. It doesn't give you the ideas on how to change.
Agreed.
This is going to be a big problem.
That's exactly the reason, tying back to something that you said earlier, which I scoffed at. So that's the reason why I'm so bad at Excel management, because I cannot learn Excel management for Excel management for Excel management. To beat that knowledge into this old horse, it's impossible. So it's a fair standpoint. That's a good topic actually as well.
Okay, so I'm right now randomly asking things. Right now, I'm trying to find out was the music better before, and because I know that this is a thing that this AI is bad at.
We are going to stick to this point for a while because I have a couple of things to mention on the topic.
Okay.
You know very well that.
Yes.
It's a topic that's very close to my heart and my fingers as well. So I wanted to give you a couple of ideas. If you remember, when we started the discussion about OpenAI, about the ChatGPT, I also mentioned that there is a clear difference between the things that are kind of like binary and digital in nature and the approach that it takes versus the things that are a little bit more analog and are not just ones and zeros. Music, from the perspective of asking the ChatGPT questions, is that one of those topics, one of the shining examples. And I'm going to show you a couple of examples of this because I played with this in the past couple of days, actually more than a couple of days as well. And I wanted to get the idea of what it's capable of doing from the perspective of music. Because again, music is not digital, it's more analog, and it's more finely grained, and it requires something that you can
soul or something that is not completely
binary
describable.
It's not discrete.
Yes,
that's what it is. So my example, here you go. Create a song with rhyme about IT engineers.
Okay.
A couple of verses, bridge, and a chorus will do fine. That's what I'm asking it to. Basically, I asked it to do this a couple of times. It creates really, really good rhymes. And not only that, at one certain point, a couple of days ago, I asked it the same thing that you see on the screen, and I asked the ChatGPT to do it in a sarcastic fashion. It understands what sarcasm is.
Yes.
And the answer to it, I was rolling on my floor laughing at the quality of the song, not at the topic or the reason or what the song meant, but it was hilarious.
The problem that I have with the AI is that I was doing the queries that you're probably going to put up on the screen when people are hearing this. I was asking it what is going to happen if you have five people trying to create 5 products in 5 minutes. And then when you create... when you try to ask it what is going to happen if you have 100 people trying to make a product in 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. The right answer is you are not going to be able to make a product, because if 5 people are creating 5 products in 5 minutes, this means that they are going to take 5 minutes to create one product. Mm-hmm. AI is completely wrong here. It says that if you give them only 2 minutes to work, they are going to be able to create 2 products per person for a total of 200 products.
Basically, it is mathemатizing its way out of a jam.
Yes, and this is a problem because this is completely nonsense.
Yes.
And imagine a child trying to use this to create his homework. First answer is wrong. Is completely right. Second answer is completely wrong.
I asked it to do it in a sarcastic fashion.
Yes, okay. You can even ask it to create something for the. So I'm going to ask it for create a topic list for a successful IT broad podcast. And this is going to be completely out of the box, average, normal thing that you would now find on the internet, and it works.
Yep.
Because this is going to work, but this is going to be just vanilla, uninteresting thing. Mm-hmm. If you try to create interesting things, you need to think out of the box, and this is what AI is not good at.
Yes.
So what we are going to end up with is going to be a lot of people that are going to get out of the job. And then we are going to get a small bunch of people that are going to be able to use their own intuition and their own ideas to create completely new things for everybody else.
I would argue that there's a problem with that. That's going to arise from it. Not the biologic stance. The problem that's going to happen is in order for you to... No. In order for people to have intuition, they have to have knowledge. Okay. In work. Specifically, I'm talking about work.
Yes, and
there is no intuition for work without spending a gazillion hours on working on something. That's my argument. I want to actually show you a couple of other examples related to music, because you're going to see some things that are really strange, but also kind of like they all go to a point that we made.
Okay, just one more point about the experience. There is a saying or it's supposed to be a survey that says that you need 10,000 hours of doing something in order to become an expert.
Correct.
That's around 7 years of working. The problem is that in order to become an expert, you need to be able to do something for 7 years and have somebody pay you for it. If you are unable to get paid for those 7 years, how do you become an expert?
I do have a semi-answer to that question, because I know that both you and I went through the same process.
Yes, but we didn't have these guys here.
Yes, but we also weren't paid.
Okay, but we didn't have this guy.
I'm not saying that people shouldn't get paid for work. That's not my point. My point is as follows. If you are willing to put in the hours,
okay,
and for example, you go to college, most colleges nowadays have some, practice work that you have to do, work within the company on projects, whatnot. That's also time that you can deduct from those 10,000 hours.
Okay.
So that's time well spent while not necessarily getting paid a huge sum of money, getting some money out of it, because every labor has to be, the work has to be paid, but it's still like very low, let's say, wage per hour or something like that. The more extreme example of that is actually our lives, because we've spent thousands of hours sitting at computers at the old college that we used to go to, without any expectation of I want to get a pint of gold tomorrow out of the things that I'm doing right now, basically playing with the terminal. That's what we used to do. But we also had faith in our, let's say, ability to work on something, even against all odds of being 100% sure that that's going to lead to success.
Okay, and this is the reason why I use Windows 11.
No, you're not. That's not the same thing. This is basically the definition of leap of faith. Okay, which is one of the most fundamental processes if you really want to learn something.
Yes, okay.
But that process starts with saying to yourself that you don't know anything about something.
Okay, but right now we are just extending this leap.
Yes.
And this is going to be a big problem.
Agreed.
Because extending this leap means that you're going to be, you are going to have to put in even more hours just to be able to sustain what you're trying to do.
Correct.
And right now, I think that it is going to be, in the current state of what AI is, it is going to become more satisfying and more profitable to become a musician than the IT guy.
Oh, that's a good one. Let me continue further down that topic, actually. So I wanted to make it do something for me to kind of like, I got the feeling. I had a feeling that it's not as good at analog things, because we were playing with this for a couple of nights in a row.
I was trying to make a crossover
between songs, etc. Yes,
we did Rage Against the Machine and Led Zeppelin. I think
Led Zeppelin. Yes, it was. And I actually took it not a step further, but step in a different direction.
Okay.
Kind of like taking cue from you, but I went a different direction. So I asked it to kind of like do something similar that you asked it to do, to like kind of create a crossover between two songs. But I wanted it to do it kind of like in a specific split, like 50-50 split or something like that. And then I told it I didn't reference the absolute key in which the songs are. I told it to use to create a crossover song that is going to use one of the songs as the root key. Okay. So it did a fundamentally fantastic job of creating something which is a million miles away from the truth. Reason being, and this is something that I happen to know, I asked it to use the original key of Sacrifice by Elton John, a very famous 90s song. Yeah, we are old. What can you do? It says that chord progression of Staying Alive is something, Sacrifice is something, to 80 chord progression, intro D, chords from Sacrifice, etc. Basically, what happened since this afternoon, up till this point, it is giving me the different answer.
Yes.
But not only is it giving me a different answer, right now it is giving me almost a correct answer. Earlier today, when I asked this question, it didn't know positively which key the song started with. I know it because
Okay.
perfect pitch. What can I do? I knew it, and I was laughing my behind off because it was completely wrong. And for a person like me who is very invested into music, all like with my whole being, that was something that was very. It's not amateurish. That's not the word, but it was. To your point. It doesn't know that it doesn't know, or it's presenting something as if it knows something which it doesn't.
Yes, but the problem is that given, I won't say a completely trained musician, but given a musician that knows what he's doing, you can use this to create a passable new song.
You can do way more than that.
Yes, and this is a problem.
It is.
Because this is, I won't say plagiarizing, it's creating.
No, it's just stifling creativity. That's enough.
Yes.
That's enough.
It's completely. But not only that. It's flooding the market with, I wouldn't say even F quality merchandise, in whatever regards you think about it. So forum suggestions, forum questions, forum answers, diagrams, music, images, and so on, and people are losing the ability to create something new because they are being compared to thousands of different examples of things that are completely irrelevant, basically. So you are trying to be different. Okay, say right now you are creating a piece of music. Right now, there are probably thousands of releases every day in the music industry. Imagine trying to be creative and new when you have tens of millions of releases every day or every hour, because the AI is creating this.
There is zero statistical chance that you can distinguish yourself from somebody else.
Yes.
Because the statistics of that tells you that every possible possible chord progression is going to be used, therefore you cannot be unique.
Is my biggest gripe. Because when I'm competing against dumb guys, I'm going to be okay. But when I'm competing against dumb AIs, I'm not going to be okay, because dumb AIs are completely free and there is millions of them. So they're going to drown my voice in whatever I do. And this is the biggest gripe. The only thing that I'm worried about. I like the idea, I like the tool, I like the way it works, but I like the way it is becoming better and better. But at the same time, I'm hating what is going to happen because people are going to misuse it. And we are going to have to create a way of trying to distinguish what is going to happen, because people are lazy and people are, in most part, fair and trying to be ethical and morally okay, but there are people who are going to try to use this
for nefarious reasons,
for different reasons that are going to be bad, and this is going to be a big problem.
I have a perfect example of what I was saying earlier, actually, of this being absolutely and unequivocally wrong. So I just asked it, what's the chord structure? Because you gave me the idea of Zeppelin, I went with Stairway to Heaven. So I asked it about the chord structure.
We are going to get a copyright strike, okay?
Nah, we're not going to play it. I asked it to give me the chord progression. The chord progression has zero. I think the chorus part is partially correct, but the intro and the verse have nothing to do with reality.
Okay.
This is my point.
Yes.
My biggest problem is that it has a lot of information inside that ChatGPT that is not correct, that is only going to lead to more incorrectness or more false things being touted as truths. And for that reason, it needs to be something that's, would you say, overseen or something like that. Doesn't really matter what the term is. It's not a political discussion, actually. It's just a human one, actually. And maybe even a slightly professional one. Because that's what we were trying to do. We are kind of like over-analyzing, in a sense, the ChatGPT as a concept.
Yes,
not only as a product, as a concept as well.
Yes, but because ChatGPT is evolving as we speak. And ChatGPT is becoming different probably with each minute. because people are making it learn new things, and there will be a point where they will have to turn it off, then reset it probably, and see what it has learned. Because we are right now working. I was reading a news article in a local newspaper about ChatGPT. Both you and me, you are concentrating on basically creative and music. I'm concentrating mostly on trying to come up with ideas of different things based on IT configuration and so on, because this is what I'm interested in.
No, I'm very interested in the IT side of
Yeah,
things.
yes, I know,
But I discovered that a lot of the IT stuff that I asked it, it completely knows and very much 100% correct.
Yes, but the problem is that the article that I read completely disregarded everything. They tried to make it look, I don't know, paranoid. They tried to make it look political,
Bad, unethical, political,
and unmoral, unethical, unpolitical, and so on. They tried to push the boundaries as soon as they saw the prompt. And this is a problem, because this is a tool. You can use a fork to eat, you can use a fork to dig a hole, you can use a fork to kill somebody. And those three things are completely different. So you have a fork is a tool.
Which only it enhances the things that the thing that I was saying, that morality is a key aspect of this.
Yes.
Yeah.
But how do you enforce morality on millions or billions of people?
There is no direct way. You have to, I would argue, and this is not because we work in education, I would argue that the primary way of doing that is by educating people.
Okay, so uneducated people shouldn't be able to use the AI?
No, and that's not what I'm saying.
Yes, I know.
I'm saying that everybody should be educated. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Because I'm saying that AI is going to give you an incredible education. But Google is going to give you an incredible education. Free resources that are available online are going to give you, let's say, what we were able to learn in the university times 10, times 100. If you are able to, we both come from the electrical engineering backgrounds. When we were trying to learn something, they said that you would be able to create CPUs only in sterile or whatever environments and so on. There is a guy that is creating chips in his own garage.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yes.
YouTube.
So what wasn't possible 20 years ago or 25 years ago, we are old, 25 years ago, it's completely normal now. And AI is going to create a gap that is going to mean that what is possible 10 minutes from now is not possible right now.
I have a question, Professor.
Yes?
Are you saying that the OpenAI is good with that metaphor as well?
No, probably not.
Uh-huh.
Probably not, because I don't know what the limitations are, but nobody knows. Nobody knows what the limitations are right now, because you cannot, there is no definitive answer that is going to give you the idea of how much resources do you need to give to AI for him to be able to learn at the given pace.
I would say that the binary discussion that we are having right now, with us both basically having very similar standpoints, generally speaking, is different when you try to apply that thought process to the general public. And hence the reason why the topic that you just brought up, which was, I read an article which was complete and utter bollocks, is going to create a false impression, which is something that oftentimes happens, especially in IT. In terms of journalism, which is why we left it partially. I think that's fair to say. But the second part of the discussion is actually we have to have a rational discussion about it, which shouldn't be that we are treating it nobody knows the trouble I see, versus nobody knows but let's find out.
No, I'm completely for it. But my biggest point right now is that we are dealing with something that we don't understand.
As oftentimes we have in history.
Yes.
And we shouldn't be afraid of it.
Yes, but I'm not afraid of it. But I'm a little bit cautious, because if you are asking, I was asking it if the AI is making things up or hallucinating. And it specifically says, my responses are based solely on the information I have been trained on, and I do not have the ability to generate new information or engage in imaginative or creative activities. And then I say,
yeah, I
then
know.
I say, create a song about being creative. Oh,
You need to specifically tell it you want lyrics.
no. Okay.
Although you can
No,
you can manipulate it to actually create music as well.
Create a poem
About being creative. Okay.
and there it is being creative about the creativity.
Yeah.
So it is lying.
Yes.
And this is a problem.
Okay, I don't see the fact. This is not basically lying. This is a little bit different to explicitly lying, but you kind of manipulated it into doing.
Yes,
that.
so imagine you have a tool.
Yeah, I understand where you're
And
going
imagine
with
that
this.
your tool is able to do some things, and you depend on those things to be done. But then your tool is also able to do things that it doesn't tell you it is able to do, and it does it behind your back. This is extremely worrying for me.
Okay, can I just interject with a stupid, less than analogy?
Okay,
We are not in a Terminator movie.
we might as well be.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Right now we are. Right now we are not. But I read something about that when the AI becomes
Sentient?
we are going to have around 5 minutes or so.
Until it figures out that it needs to eliminate every single human being, or
I think that the biggest problem is that people are the problem. When you think about
from
it,
the AI perspective, you mean?
no, from everybody's perspective, because people are killing each other because they're able to kill each other. So if you are unable to come to another person to be able to kill it, this is fine. So just isolate all the people where they are. It's a simple solution. And the problem is that when you have a simple solution, somebody is going to try to take advantage of it. So this is one of those things that we are going to have to work with, and the time is ticking, and it's ticking quite quickly.
Still, we are not at the rise of the machines.
Okay, I do hope so, because right now it seems awfully like the machines are just
Coming to get you.
No. They're just gathering parts together, trying to
Planting the seeds
planting
of
the
future
seeds,
destruction.
how the things work, how the parts fit in, what can you do, and so on.
Can I point out the incredibly big dissonance between what you just said and reality for a second, for fun?
Yes.
You don't think that we are even better than machines at that?
Right now.
No, we have been throughout history better at that as well. At planting the seeds of our future demise, or whatever you want to call it.
Yes, okay. I'm completely for it. I'm calling it toss of the coin if we are going to destroy ourselves or if the machines are going to destroy us. Because basically, I cannot see what either of those are going to do in the future, because I don't have a
Crystal ball.
or whatever idea what's going to happen. But right now we are talking about AI, and I see that AI has serious problems in trying to manipulate the things and manipulate the world around us, and biasing everything that is going to happen in such a way that we are not going to be able to notice it. So let me go back to my MP3 analogy. Right now, when you hear music that wasn't compressed by MP3, you are surprised.
No, I've always been surprised, but
Yes, but you are surprised
for all the good or bad of it, I'm not the norm. I understand what you want to say.
Yes,
in general public.
But the general public is able to say, okay, this is different. I don't know why, but this is different. They don't know the mechanism behind it, and it took 20 years to come to this point. What is going to happen when this becomes the norm with the information that we are given? So this AI can, for example, it can
manipulate history?
No. I'm just saying. Okay, I'm going to ask AI. Okay, I cannot ask it because it's not connected to the internet explicitly right now. But for example, creating completely believable weather predictions, completely believable sport predictions. So basically, low effort, low budget articles that are going to be space fillers. You're going to create a lot of noise, and then you're going to have a problem because you are not going to be able to distinguish this noise from different opinions. Because AI shouldn't be having an opinion, so it's just going to be creating a lot of text. And this is a complicated topic.
Can I? Let's slowly wrap this up. Let's do it by metaphorically trying to kind of like put your point to the test.
Okay.
Because when we were talking about doing this podcast, this specific episode, I took a little bit of time to play with it when it was still working all day long, which today isn't the case, but doesn't really matter. So what we are going to do now is actually ask it probably the most metaphorically speaking.
It created another.
Yeah, I know.
version of the-
No, I did this by accident. I'm going to ask it to basically give me the meaning of life, in a sense. Okay.
Okay.
Just pay close attention to what's going to happen after it's done, putting all of the blah 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 stairway to heaven things on my screen. It's gonna stop now. What's the most complex thing to learn in life?
Okay.
It says no definitive answer because that relates and depends on experiences, blah, 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 blah. Some of us might be with, looking at some activities, maybe new language or some skill or whatnots. Generally, it could be argued that the most complex thing to learn in life is how to be fully functioning and happy human being.
Okay.
You know what what I agree with that.
But
And
this
is the algorithm talking, yet the algorithm and the data set combined, yet it's completely correct, I think.
Okay, but I think one of the reasons why humans even exist is that they don't have a universal notion of what is the meaning of life.
I agree.
So-
Which is why I didn't ask it for the meaning of life, because
I was asking what is 42,
yeah,
and it came up with this.
really
is the
good,
an-
really good answer.
This is the answer to the ultimate question of life, universe, and
Yeah,
everything.
I know.
Yes.
Hitchhiker.
Yes, but the idea of this is my point. This is not definitive answer, and but this is a close enough answer that you can believe it, and then
I agree with you.
A normal person wouldn't be putting a lot of thoughts into it. It would say, okay, this is a given. This is okay. This works for me. Okay, I'm not talking about a normal person perceiving a meaning of life question like this.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most of the answers or most of the questions that you're given, you're going to get an answer that is going to be close enough for you that you believe in it, and then you're going to be creating more problems with you.
Okay, I'm going to close this off with two more examples,
Okay.
because one of them is going to be pure IT.
Okay.
And we've done something similar. If it doesn't time out, it's going to be really cool. So I'm going to simplify it, and I'm going to use an example that I saw it do really well. So I'm going to ask it to create something Ansible related. We both like using Ansible. So example of an Ansible playbook that creates LAMP stack on 10 servers, let's say server 1 to 10. And it's going to create a complete Ansible playbook with the syntax and all. Really,
Yes.
really beautiful. If I copy paste this into CentOS or Ubuntu, depending on which distribution you're using, I actually ask it to create some critical things as well to kind of like analyze whether or not it works. And it understood what I wanted to say as well.
Yes.
So it is capable of understanding my question from not a philosophical standpoint, it's from a practical standpoint. It kind of computed what I wanted to say, and it created a very, very good, syntax correct, and descriptive answer, actually, because you can see here that the way in which it names the plays as well
Yes.
just like what you and I would do.
Because the data set probably contains.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yes,
So it
okay.
learned by example, learned by behavior, by association, in a sense. But at the same time, when you ask a little bit more meaningful question, which is what I was asking earlier, So, which was the what is the most complex thing to learn in life? And it gave me the answer that it gave me, which was, learning about how to be happy and functional human being, whatnot, blah blah. We can call that blah blah, but
Okay.
at the same time, don't you think that that is something that we should aspire to, even though it's a stupid data set and the algorithm telling you so?
But this is the biggest problem that we have with the humanity.
We define these things differently. I understand
No,
that.
no, 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 no. In every book, there is a passage that can be identified as the thing that you should aspire to. But the problem is that
Okay.
different people are
Aspiring to different
inspired
things.
to the different passages. So saying that this is thing that we should be aspiring to is completely okay. But I can also say I'm going to aspire to not having the ability to generate new information, because this is what AI told me. So your understanding and my understanding is different, and this is why we are different. And I hate definitive answers to things that are not definite. This is one of those things that where there is not only there is no black and white, there is the entire spectrum, and then there is some.
I'm not saying that this is the absolute
Yes,
truth.
yes, yes, yes.
It's
Okay.
not.
No,
It's not only average absolute truth. It's not even that. But it's
I would call it an
a
average
noble
life.
one.
I would call it an average life coach thing.
That's what I was going
Yeah.
for.
Yes. 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 So
That's
average.
exactly what I wanted to say.
Yes.
It's basically just like listening to a gazillion different, soul gurus of the world telling you something about something that it doesn't know anything about because it doesn't know about you.
Yes. I know.
Exactly what I wanted to say.
And I'm going to try to ask it to give me 10 life-changing tips.
Please do.
And let's see what is going to happen. It's going to think a little bit, because it is being overflowed by people trying to ask it. Okay.
There we go. Let's see. There we go. Life coaching again.
Yes, but this is now. I was asking to make it make a life coaching thing. It is going to say be good to other people at some point in time.
Surround yourself with positive people. Sounds like a good idea.
But this is the problem. It is good at summarizing the people things, but it is good at summarizing things that it has seen.
Absolutely.
This is just basically
Reiterating everything that it knows about.
yes, and this is okay. But then you need to be able to say, okay, I need to be able to come up with another 10 things that I can change in my life, and this is what makes us better than the AI right now.
I would argue that this is going to make us better than the AI for the very foreseeable future. Reason is not the fact that AI is built on technology. That's not the reason. It's not the algorithms. It's not the data set. Because theoretically, you could, with the state of technology that we have nowadays, you could create a supercomputer that would eat away all of the information about everything related to science. We could do it with ease today. It's not, the capacity isn't a problem. But what I am saying is that there is a big gap between what the chip can do with the associated memory, storage space, databases, and the algorithms in the data set, all combined together, versus what the human brain can do.
Yes.
And that's the fundamental difference between that and us, which is exactly what you are saying.
Okay, we can agree on this. And also we can agree that...
I'm just analyzing it like engineer, okay, for a second. And I would argue that a lot of the things that we discussed today comes out of that.
And we can also take a look at the screen and say, okay, 10 life-changing tips is network error.
Yes.
So this is what it comes to when you take all the things into consideration. People are incredibly good at coming up with solutions when there are no other resources than themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And AI is only able to come up with a solution right now when it has incredibly complex and huge amount of information behind it.
Provided by us.
Yes, provided by us. So right now, we are not at the point that we are in any fear of AI, but I'm cautious about the next, let's call it 2 years. I'm going to be extremely short on this prediction and say in 2 years we are going to come up with the next iteration of this that is going to be much better in predicting things, understanding things. Because the main thing that this chat AI doesn't have is network connectivity.
I actually heard that it does, but it's hidden behind some kind of a, let's say, paywall.
Okay, but it doesn't have network connectivity
I'm not sure. I haven't been able to verify that information.
Based on everything that is giving us as answers, it doesn't know people. It doesn't know things that are happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it is not capable of analyzing real-time data right now.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the next step. The next step is going to be
crawling all over the internet, basically.
Yes, basically using AI on the Google data set.
Mm-hmm.
And Google is probably, they would be stupid if they are not doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't be surprised if Google comes up with a solution like this in the next probably 6 months or so, because they need to. This is the reason
Didn't they just fire their AI division a couple of months ago?
Probably because they copied the OpenAI and then started from scratch. Because Twitter fired all the guys that were doing the developing,
mm-hmm.
and then Norway became Nigeria. But this is a thing that is going to happen, and this is the reason why, for example, Microsoft Translate in Word works amazing, and nobody is paying any attention to this.
Mm-hmm.
10 years ago, this would be a frontline news, because you are able to translate entire documents in seconds using basically a tool that is almost, it isn't free, but it's next to free.
I remember the state of those tools when we were still in college.
Yes.
Neurotron and stuff like that.
So the problem is that this would be breaking news 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, it's just 2 clicks and you say, okay, I'm satisfied with this. This is going to happen with AI.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to be derelict technology in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to see even more things happening in quick succession, and then we're going to see what is going to happen next.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's finish now with what is going to happen next and say that I was Yasmin.
My name is Vedran.
And we were trying to make things interesting for you for today. And
make sense of OpenAI chatbot.
We decided that we are going to create a half an hour podcast, and right now we are around
2 hours already.
Around 2 hours already. So, what are we going to talk about next? We'll see next week, probably.
We'll see. No, I think it's not going to be next week. It's going to be probably in 2 weeks. But yeah, we have a huge list of topics to discuss.
Okay.
15 next episodes are already planned. So, with that being said.
Whatever your time zone is, your salutations are in order right now.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.